I'm Sahil Rahman in Doha. The main stories here on Al Jazeera. Israel's army says 2 Israeli civilians have been killed during clashes with Palestinian fighters near a Gaza border crossing. Tanks have been scrambled after 4 Palestinian gunmen penetrated near the Nahal Oz crossing. 2 of the men were killed as they tried to escape. Israeli armour has now entered the Gaza Strip and there's been airstrikes in retaliation for the attack, killing 4 Palestinian civilians. David Chater has more.
4 gunmen infiltrated and managed to cut through the wire fence at the Nahal Oz border crossing, which is the main point for fuel shipments into the Gaza Strip. Now, a fuel shipment had just passed through when there was a barrage of mortar shells, and then the gunmen broke through the fence. They didn't manage to abduct any Israeli soldiers, which was the purpose of their mission, we are told. But 2 Israeli civilians were killed and 2 more were seriously injured. At the moment, we have many of the Palestinian resistance groups claiming responsibility for this attempted abduction. But the most interesting point is that the spokesman for the Israeli Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, that is Mark Regev, said that no matter who has claimed responsibility, they in the end consider that Hamas is responsible for this and Hamas will bear the responsibility. We don't know what that means, but clearly the period of lull that we've experienced over the last month is about to end after this attempted infiltration.
And Al Jazeera's Ashraf Ramruti is in Gaza. He says many Palestinian factions consider the operation at Nahal Oz a success.
We're expecting a pressure coming shortly, a joint pressure by the Palestinian factions who actually took part in this attack in Nahal Oz. Basically, three Palestinian factions claim responsibility. The military wing of the Islamic Jihad, also Kataib al-Mujahideen, and also Salah ad-Din Brigade. Actually, the atmosphere there and here is that Palestinian factions, they consider this as a victory, a big victory for the Palestinian resistance.
Nepal's Maoist leader is appealing for calm after police shot dead at least 7 people during pre-election clashes. A small bomb also exploded without causing injury in the capital Kathmandu. Thursday's landmark election, the first in 9 years following the civil war with Maoist fighters, is expected to spell the end of the world's only Hindu monarchy. But voting has already been suspended in one constituency in western Nepal. The head of the United Nations there says he's deeply shocked by the election killings. On the 5th anniversary of the fall of Baghdad, a curfew is being enforced in the Iraqi capital. At least 16 people have been killed in clashes between security forces and Shia fighters in the Sadr city stronghold. Meanwhile, in Washington, top military commander and leading diplomat in Iraq are briefing US political leaders for a second day. The International Monetary Fund has announced a grim economic outlook for the year, saying the United States is probably in a mild recession. The IMF says the US housing and credit crisis are at the centre of a global financial downturn. The fund also warns there's a chance world growth will drop to 3% or less, a level viewed as recessionary. The Olympic torch is in San Francisco, where more Free Tibet protesters are expected. Crowds are already gathering for a 10-kilometre tour of the city, but police in California say they've taken extra measures to avoid the same kind of disruption already seen by people in Paris and London. Kenyan police have fired tear gas on hundreds of youths in Nairobi protesting at the delay in forming a power-sharing government. Opposition supporters have threatened more unrest if cabinet, which includes Raila Odinga, is not formed soon. However, the US envoy to Kenya suggests a coalition deal will be agreed within a few days. The exit polls in South Korea suggest the Conservative Party of President Lee Myung-bak will take control of parliament. It's an endorsement of the new president's plans to jumpstart the economy and take a tougher stance on neighbouring North Korea. Lee's Grand National Party is expected to occupy more than 155 seats in the 299-member assembly.